So now I do have to rephrase something then. Why do people not get married? Was your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because of divorce. Divorce is scary. Divorce is a horrible, destructive thing that happens a lot. We were just talking about how
Numbers.
the divorce rate in Rwanda shot up from 300 something one year to 8,900 the next. American marriages have 50% chance of failing. That's the success rate is less than 50%. Dating has become the new marriage, it seems, and it's because it is less scary, because you can walk away. However, I have noticed in my friends that do have sex outside of marriage, because they're not married. You can't have sex inside of marriage if you don't have a marriage. That are sleeping with each other and having kids outside of wedlock. They do find the children to be enough of an influence to stay in some of these circumstances, of course. It depends on the person, you know. I mean, some people, they have a desire to get married. Others see it as an unnecessary thing. Something that's more of a formality than a requirement. I personally see it as both. It is a formal thing. Being, professing your love for someone until the end of your life should be very formal, you know. And I do see it as a requirement. And that's just the way that I'm going to see it. I'm not going to require that of other people necessarily.
So what do you think? What do you think people get feared? What do people fear the marriage?
So, and that's also another important point of American culture. American culture has this issue of things shouldn't be painful. You know, you shouldn't have to go through hard times. You got a job, you got a roof over your head, everything's going great. You shouldn't have to worry about pain in your life, stuff like that. And so we get into these relationships and we think, well, this is someone that I could live with the rest of my life. I won't suffer any pain with them. I'm not going to go through hard times. And then we're not prepared for hard times. We don't train ourselves to be ready for when things go horribly wrong. And the fear then becomes, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this marriage, I'm stuck in this relationship, I just can't leave. Even though every part of you may say, leave, that creates panic. And panic creates doubt. Well, probably had doubt long before, but panic creates irrational responses to things. People are afraid of marriage for a lot of reasons. I think, one, like I just said, we don't teach people how to cope with hard times. Two, and this is mostly for the men, but divorce court is incredibly unfair, especially for men in America. Depending on the state you're in, there's no good way to win a divorce settlement as a man. Men are very afraid of divorce. They're very afraid of the power that women have in divorce court. And then the third one is because it really does change everything about your life. From that point onward, your life won't be the same. Sort of like when you get married, except now you've disrupted.
So do you think is it you said the divorce court? Is it difficult for men because the policy need men to be serious in their engagement, or it's because they have seen all previous divorces men were reasons of it?
Yeah. So what it is that divorce court is unfairly tilted into a woman's favor. Women are seen as caregivers. Generally, women are seen as stay-at-home mothers, and some are. That's no doubt. In a divorce, women are seen as the scorned party, even if they're not. And so a woman can actually get away with quite a lot in divorce court because that is their a comedian. Can I be specific on names?
Yeah, sure.
Comedian Aries Spears does a bit about this, and I'm not going to take from him too much, but he says that divorce is a woman's hustle. It's where they get to take a man for everything they're worth. He went over the details of his own divorce. He said, for instance, that when he went to divorce court, he knew, they both knew for a fact, $5,000 took care of the bills for a month. Everything. It took care of the kids, took care of the family, took care of the house, everything. But they made him, in divorce court, paid $30,000 a month to his wife. The other $25,000 was just available. That's why they gave it to her. And it was like, really? That's what divorce court is really all about. Divorce court is about taking what you can, forget the other person. It's really just this grab. And I mean, that's not always the case. Don't get me wrong. There are other cases where sometimes men come out on top. Or sometimes the judge is fair and doesn't force a man to pay out everything he has. But there are some men who, they lose their house. They lose the custody of their children. They're paying an unreasonable amount of money in child support or alimony or things like that. You hear these cases of football players who get divorced, and it's like, $30,000, $50,000, $1 million, $100,000, $1 million, just money on top of money. Comedians that talk about divorce, and believe you me, it's often, we'll talk about how, like, the meter's still running. When you get divorced, you pay for your spouse's lawyer. And that can take a long time for that process to be over. Millions of dollars can be spent for certain people in longer proceedings. So, divorce is very scary for men. In the rare cases where men, not rare, I don't want to say it's rare, I don't really know the statistics on it, but it does definitely seem rare, that men don't lose a lot of money, their home, their kids, and so on. In those situations, it's not very often that happens, but it's usually because the wife ended up doing something really, really bad. And it was inexcusable and unavoidable.
What do you think once people who need to be engaged and they say we want to be together, we want to share our economy, we want to feed our kids, we want to educate our kids, and we need to be there the all rest of our life. What do you think, like in 3 sentences or in 3 adjectives, what do you think can protect them? Can protect their engagement till they get to the end?
So, to keep them from divorcing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Be comfortable with sacrifice, because you will do that a lot. My dad sacrificed a lot for his family, and that was something that I don't think I didn't really appreciate that much about him. I should probably give him a call. But no, sacrifice is a big deal. You're going to sacrifice a lot, and you should get comfortable with that really quickly, because even though it may be worth it, it will be hard. Comprehension is as important as communication.
Right.
I can tell you something, but if you don't understand it, you didn't hear me, and vice versa. And then the third one, that's rough. Don't be afraid to be honest. Don't be afraid to be honest. I think that a lot of people fear that their partner will judge them, and that their partner will even hate them for being honest about something in their past or in their situation currently, and then they'll hold it against them.
Okay, you touched something I wanted you to say, because I really know, even if I tell you the word, I'm going to tell you the word, you will see that it's needed among those 3 things.
Sure.
But you say it in another way, if I can try to link them together.
Go for it.
It's forgiveness.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Forgiveness is huge.
Yeah, forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because you said to be honest and to don't worry to be honest. It's because we are not honest because we worry about the judgment of someone.
Absolutely.
It's, for example, I cheated on someone and say, honey, I'm sorry, I cheated on you, but I recognize that and apologize and I won't do it again.
Right, I'm going to work towards
it. And then you fear if the person will forgive you,
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, if the person will forgive you. That's why I say forgiveness, to me, is even the first key
Sure.
of love. Because you're loving a human being. You're loving someone who even does a mistake to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then someone who does a mistake to himself, unfortunately we do mistake to you.
Yeah.
You see? That means the only thing which can make you live with someone is forgiveness. And then you have the what you call, I even liked it, it's which we brings together with the passion, is to to be, how do you call it? You used a nice word. The first one, what did you say?
Sacrifice?
Yeah, sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, sacrifice is like, I can miss something to make you happy.
Yeah.
You can miss something to make me happy. You know, it's a kind of, we have like one bread, and I don't want to eat it. I want you to eat it. I sacrifice myself so you can be happy, and you sacrifice yourself to make me happy.
Right.
That will bring us out to share.
Absolutely.
You know.
And you said you want to link the concepts. I think there's a very important link between sacrifice and forgiveness. Because sometimes you may not want to forgive, even if it's the right thing to do and you know you should do it. It can be a sacrifice to forgive. It can be a sacrifice to comprehend what someone says to you. And to be honest, of course, is a sacrifice of someone's integrity. I am going to ruin my integrity to be honest with you. That's a sacrifice. So it definitely, they all are very linked to forgiveness. I think that's a great point.
You have been in all your life in the party with American. Give me what the difference, and this will be my last question.
This is the last question.
What the difference between
Okay.
the way of American doing party and the way of African doing party?
So I see I have a lot more fun at African parties. Okay. There's the music, the dancing, the people. There's always a conversation going on. It's always cool. I feel zero pressure to do anything. If I want to chill out, I can chill out. I can do whatever I want. American parties are a little more. They're still fun. They're very fun. I'm not choosing one over the other. I just happen to enjoy the African parties that I've been to. The American parties I go to are a little more low-key. They're pretty casual. You gather with friends, and it's just a relief to be around people at that point. So it's kind of weird. It seems like an African party is more like, come in. We want as many people here to have as great a time as they can. There's food on the table. There's fresh refreshments in the fridge. Enjoy the music. Enjoy conversation, and be there. Whereas American party is a little more like, we want to make sure we want to be around these people. And so, it's more like, not like a guest list, but you make sure to invite only who you want to invite. So it's just a different way of doing it, but I've enjoyed the parties I've been to so far, and I'm grateful that I've been invited to do things like that, and to be invited to do this as well. Thank you for having me.